Welcome back tonight to the Talk Tonight. Now we're moving on to discussions about dissolving the East Syracuse Police Department. What did Jim Kenyon say tonight? This is a takeover. This isn't a merger. And Jim said it in the way only he could, that DeWitt is taking over the East Syracuse Police Department, the Village Police Department, at the request of Mayor Danny Lidka, who said, we really can't afford this at this full-price police service anymore. So DeWitt, which is the town that encompasses the village, help us out here and let's work out a deal. And the deal is already struck. Now they're laying it out to the public and saying, what do you think? The deal is already struck.
Yeah,
now the
ball is rolling, and there's a group that
this will not be stopped.
Yeah, this will not be stopped. I agree with you. This is rolling in that direction. It will. There are village leaders on board, the mayor at the top of that list, and they've already struck the deal that needed to be struck in order. And that is DeWitt has already agreed to step in and hire 6 East Syracuse police officers. So this deal is done. The ink is drying on it, and while the ink dries, East Syracuse seems ready to allow neighbors there to sound off in whatever way they'd like to this evening.
Yeah, and listen, I understand why they have to do it. I mean, these towns and villages have to get creative. If this were happening in my local town, would I be concerned? I think it just depends. You know, if there's an emergency in your neighborhood, you want someone to be there. So as long as whoever is going to be coming in is able to provide the coverage for those neighborhoods, I would feel okay with it. If they're not going to get there in an emergency, then you know, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and it is proven out that they do get there in an emergency. The town of Clay, where I grew up and my parents still live, they have seen no change whatsoever in the coverage of the amount of police cars. Now they see a sheriff's car instead of the brown Clay police clown car, which I shouldn't have said, but that's what we used to call them when we were kids. And Manlius, years ago, took in the Manoa Police Department. There have been other mergers going back 25, 30 years, generational changes that now you wouldn't even consider. You just go, well, it's the Manlius Police.
The problem in a place like East Syracuse, I think even more so than Clay, which was sort of a spread out town, you know what I mean? I mean, East Syracuse is very much an intimate village, as intimate a village as we have, you know, in all of these places all over Central New York. And it's my police department. It's not the police department. It's my police force. I know that man. I know that woman who is part of that force. And it's giving up something very personal. Convincing people of the cost issue is to some degree impossible. Because that's black and white. We've reported on it. The mayor is looking at that, and it's stark. That's why it's happening. But convincing people to give up something that they have always had, that has been theirs, is the real tough sell here. And in East Syracuse, it'll be much harder to sell, I think, than it was in Clay.
Yeah, and like you said, looking after those people who they've known for so long.
Well, you know, Salve and Liverpool both went through this back 12, 15 years ago under Mayor Bernardi was the mayor of Syracuse. And the problem with that merger concept was, again, it was kind of forced down people's throats, and it was the city of Syracuse stepping out and almost tarnishing the name of the village of Liverpool or Salve, where saying, well, geez, now we have the city police here. Does that mean we're going to have city crime, too? That whole perception of what's dangerous. So it's a little more comfortable when it's the suburban...
When it's another suburban
police department that helps out, or it's the sheriff or the state troopers. A little bit more comfortable. I think that matters, too.
Well, this is not the last that we will hear of one of these kind of consolidated efforts. So.
No, and this meeting will be interesting to see if people do speak up and say, you've done all this really, and we have not had an opportunity to speak on it. So I'll be interested to see what the neighbors say.
We'll have more on that tonight at 10 and 11 tonight. Thanks for participating in our talk tonight. Your comments on our Facebook page are very much appreciated. Join the conversation on CNYCentral.com, too.